Okay, everybody, I'm trying to get everything set up because I was going to do it outside this video, but it's still 38 degrees out. And my abilities as I get older are a little less, I guess. Um, a couple comments on my videos that I'm going to address for you. And take a look at this. Okay. Everybody do a Google search. Everybody do a Google search and print this out. If you're an activator, if you don't make you a cheat sheet that says you need to be within this band, a set of frequencies on this band that you can operate in CW or operate in phone or operate digital, depending on what band you're on. This is important. Don't write it off and play it off. There's nothing more embarrassing to find out. And they got pretty ones too from manufacturers. So there's no excuse not to get one. But there's nothing more embarrassing to find out that you're out of band because you assumed you were there and you're not. And then as things happen, I can't let down my sponsor. I wish I had money invested in them as much money as I invest every time I stop. Question was addressed, what frequencies should a new activator go to start out? Well, based on your class of license dictates you can go pretty much anywhere. As a new ham, you troll along on the bands and you find nets here and there. Do a Google search again. I hate Google, but Google search is pretty good when it comes to amateur radio net frequencies. There's several different people who have lists created that say this net starts on this frequency at this time GMT or UTC time, and it meets daily, etc., etc. Those are nice things to know, but do you really want to download and print it? No. You want to knock yourself out. Me, no. One of the things that I've learned as an activator, and this has come from experience, is certain frequencies that we go to, me, myself, and I, and Mike, and I've shared it with Steve too, that I'll share with you and you make the decision. I got a cheat sheet. I'm good, old man. I'm good for nothing. Nobody pays me. I'd tell you a joke, but you're not here for a joke. We used to be in the general portion of the band 7.188 as a standard frequency. If I can, that's where I'm going to operate. Between there and 7.190, I try. On 40 meters. On 20 meters, as a county hunter, we try to utilize one of two frequencies because county hunters are generally there, and most of the time you may not find that the frequency is occupied unless it's by another POTA. 14336 is the old county hunters frequency, which is still utilized by many today that have been around for a long time. Another county hunter frequency offset is 14.343. Myself, I like to operate if that frequency is occupied around 14.288. Now you see a correlation between 188 and 288. That's me. That's not anybody special. That's just me. Going to 10 meters, again, looking at your class of license dictates where you may want to operate. At present, you can find a lot of empty space. So when you're on 10 meters and you're trying to put a park out, be sure to spot it if you have the means to get it spotted. And don't give up after 2 minutes of calling CQ, because it takes some people a bit of time to get to their 10-meter antenna, or to get their tuner tuned up on 10 meters where you're about. So keep that in mind. I generally try to operate around 28, 350. That's me, myself, and I, all three of us. But you have on 10 meters 28.3 to 28.4, which is a good window to go to. You have 17 meters. 17 meters, I generally start looking for a hole around 18, 135. That's where I start looking for a hole. The edge of the band is best, but you get too close and you can get yourself in trouble, so you don't need to do that. 17 meters, don't shake it off, and that's one of the other reasons for this video. And 15 meters is 21,350. I don't do any 80 meter operations, but 3905 plus or minus is where I would generally set my hat. And then you have 12 meters and so forth. So set yourself in the middle, because most people set their antennas up for the middle of the band, or if they're strictly CW, at the very edge of the CW band and sideband, so that they're getting a little bit of both worlds. But a dead band is a term we used many years ago. You new hams and new activators, you can't assume. You don't want to know what assume means. A band is not necessarily dead. Please understand that. A band is not necessarily dead. It's just not being used. It means people aren't running their mouth to make a call. All they're doing is listening with the ear and hearing nothing. You're not going to hear something if you don't make some noise for other people to listen to. So before you write off a band as being dead, work it. Try to make a call. If you can spot yourself on it and give it a try, you'll be surprised. 60 meters is a great band. It's channelized band. Channel 4 is generally where we try to operate, and that's right at about on my FT891 5.405 is where I try to operate on 60 meters. And I love it because it's quiet. It's like nothing's there, but there is activity. So don't assume that because it's quiet, the band's dead. No, that's not the case. That is what I wanted to share about new activators trying to find a frequency. By your class of license, you have the right, and it's almost like a gentleman's agreement. If you hear a net on, don't pile yourself a half a KC below it or above it. And if somebody comes in and they're going to start a net in an hour, well, you'll be done more than likely in an hour, unless you get like Mike and I, and we forget about time and we keep working it. But work with people. If you know that they tell you a net's going to start within a half hour, they don't own the frequency. You're already occupying it. You're doing your thing. You do your best and move about. But at the same time, if you're already struggling to get contacts, it's died down, there's not much activity, use a little common sense and say, okay, that's cool. That's fine. Let me make about 10 more minutes worth of calls and then sign off and do the gentleman or gentle lady thing that you think you should do. Again, Nobody owns the frequencies. They're for all of us to utilize, but you have a lot of, how did I hear that? Grumpy old men, GOMs? Grumpy old men. That's what I was accused of being. I can be arrogant and I can be grumpy just like the best of them or the rest of them. But if I'm on a frequency, I try very hard to make sure that I ask at the frequencies in use. And if you jumped on a frequency and did not ask, don't get a butt about yourself and go off on something because you failed to even check. You just found a spot you thought was clean and you did a one-way transmission, not hearing the other side of somebody else being there. So don't get mad at yourself for it. We all have to share the frequencies and we have to do our part as far as listening. That's pretty much all that I can share with you on frequencies. Stick in your class of license. Now, Mike, I work with him even as long as we both, and he's an extra class and I'm an advanced class, we still print out the band chart for where we're going to operate. You see, I carry 2 in the car. 2 is 1, 1 is none. And that's another story. But the reason is you don't want to accidentally make a mistake. And if you question yourself, it's time to start doing some thinking. On that note about thinking, if you're looking to make a whole lot of contacts, you got a whole lot of generals out there. If you want to lessen your contact count, then go to the advanced portion or the extra portion of the band. You'll weed out all your generals and you'll work only advanced and extra, and it'll slow your pile up down a little bit. And then you can finish up that lot. Again, having time, not hit and gets, and if you do hit and get, that's your thing. Then you can go to the general portion of the band and work those folks. But every hunter has an opportunity to work you, and you have an opportunity as an activator to work every hunter. It's how you manage the frequencies where you go. And it does not hurt to look on the app to see where people are at, because several times, especially on a busy weekend, you're going to find 2 activators in 2 parts of the world operating just about on top of each other. Literally, just about on top of each other. And that creates a lot of confusion. So as an activator, take a moment, look at the app, scroll down. It does it by frequency and shows you what is being utilized by whom, gives you an idea. Take that time. It's important to find another 5 or 10 seconds or 20 minutes of time not wasted because you've been piled up with somebody else, and a lot of the calls you think you got, they're working the other party, and you're not getting nothing. So have a good day. This is North Carolina for extreme lovers that I'm not. This is Dom. I've made one of my goals, and that was to reach 8 kilos. So I'll probably start slowing down some. But I appreciate each one of you hunters. I appreciate each one of you new activators. If you get a chance, what I did on ham radio today, that's the name of my page that I've created for people who want to share what they did, what they built, the experiments with other people. I'm not one to join a lot of clubs and sometimes places that sound very cliquish. I like to get out and do things. And POTA has created that in me. I'm sitting in a car right now because it's too darn cold. And I want to do CW, but it's too cold for my hands. So I may try it in the car, I don't know. But the fact is, I'm not sitting behind and I can operate from my house, so that's another story. But I can come out here to a park or a municipal park or a grove of trees and have fun. You've all been wonderful. Till we meet again, NC4XL 73.